Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Sane. Jumping back to the past, going back to Apex. This is going to be a solo queue tier list for all the legends in Apex Season 11. I am a ex-master on PC. I have done basically solo queue with a little bit of help with this Discord I was in, kind of like jumping with people. But for the most part, it's pretty solo queue. You know, I didn't have regular teammates I was with when we got up to Masters, and with all the new characters and a little bit of a, meta shift, new map, everything, we are back on World's Edge, so I guess the new map doesn't really matter. So forget that statement. Anyways, back on World's Edge for Season 11, we're going to rank all of the characters in terms of how good they're going to be for a solo queue climb up in ranked. So let's get through it. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top just because I find that the most interesting. I have all my tiers here, so I've got not team-based legends. These characters just have kits that aren't really going to help your team at all. And, while they might be fine for themselves, it is a team-based game. It's a trio squad-based game. So they're just not helpful teammates. They're not going to be good picks in the long run. This tier is reserved for a character who has team-based abilities, but the abilities just aren't very good. It's good for, low elo, but as soon as you get up to, gold and higher, this character really just falls off. Then we have solid but outshine, good characters that as you get up higher tiers, they're really going to start falling off. You're going to feel their weaknesses kind of come through, but they're not bad picks at all. Requires a lot of teamwork. These characters they require a lot of teamwork. It's hard to play them in solo queue unless you get lucky with teammates who have really good communication. If you're a really solid team leader and get random teammates to follow your lead, they can work out, but without that, they really do struggle. Then we have viable in the meta, just solid characters that are good for yourself and the team. They're self-sufficient. They're also just gonna hold true basically all the way up into Masters Predators. We have A+, which is just a character characters that are somewhere in between viable, meta, and the best picks, just a little bit above these guys. And then the best picks, the absolute just best characters to play, especially in solo queue. They're easy, they're so self-sufficient, and also just really good for the team. Now let's get through it. Also, sorry if I sound a little sick. I'm still a little stuffy. I'm getting over COVID, which was last week. I'm still kind of coming off that, so I've still got a somewhat tired voice. And I'm a little stuffy right now, but I've got some tea with me, so I will take some breaks to sip on some tea. But anyways, let's get into it. We'll start with the bottom. Not team-based legends. I don't want to talk about legends too in depth, just because I want this video to not be super long. I do have a habit of making long videos, so. Fuse and Mirage. These characters just really don't have anything that benefit the team. Fuse does damage with his knuckle cluster. He gets more grenades. His ultimate sets a ring around people, so he's kind of good for engage, but doesn't really actually do anything for your team. And to engage people in Apex, you don't need abilities to do that. Abilities are much better at keeping you alive and making your fight go better for you, while Fuse just doesn't really do that. He's kind of more just annoying, and he just has absolutely no really teamwork potential. There's really not much there. There's a couple things, but not really. And Mirage just has nothing team-based. His decoys don't do anything for the team. He has his invisible res, but if you're above average player, you kind of just hear where the res is going, and then you just find him anyways. Plus, there's so many scans going around, so really not a big deal. Really not a big viable pick. I'm gonna turn the music down a little bit. Yeah, not a super viable pick. These two just, once you get to higher ranks, if you pick one of these two characters, your teammates are probably going to get mad at you just because you're not doing something better. Alright, let's talk about the has team-based tools but sucks. That is Loba. Loba is, for some reason, always the most controversially debated character on if she's trash or not horrible. She's either, dog shit trash, or people defend, oh, she's actually not that bad, she's pretty subpar. She's not good. The thing about Loba is she's super, super, super nice for beginners, and I'm talking gold through silver, or not gold, sorry, bronze and silver. The fast looting with her ultimate is really, really helpful. Her ring is a very, very subpar movement ability, but it is that. And seeing, rare purple or gold loot through walls is nice to help you while you're learning the game. Very, very good beginner-friendly character, but her abilities just really are not there. Her ring is just way too slow. Her passive is pointless when you know loot patterns, and her ultimate is also just pointless because it's a big boom that says, hey, everybody look where I am, come kill us. So yeah, that's kind of what. So she does have team-based tools, but her tools just aren't very good. So once you get past gold, she's just not helpful anymore. She's like convenience, but not actually good. Like, what does she do in a what does she do in a fight for you? What does she do? Does she keep you alive? Because I mean, I guess you can shield swap. It's like super situational niche stuff. That's like mildly convenient, but yeah, she's gonna go down here. All right, solid but outshine. This tier's pretty good. This tier's pretty big. I mean, we got a couple different characters in here, so I'll talk about them one by one. Let's talk about Bangalore first. Bangalore's got a fine kit. Very, very average kit. You know, nothing really inherently wrong with her kit. She's got a lot of, a lot of utility. That's just not super good. Her smoke is pretty good for kind of this makeshift cover. Just be aware it's not actually cover. People can still throw grenades and shoot through it. And with so many scans, like a Bloodhound is just the direct counter to smoke. But the smoke is still something. It's still some makeshift cover. Her passive is great. She gets shot out, she runs faster. That's great. That keeps you alive. It does better for you in gunfights. It's honestly great. And then her ultimate is a good space clear. Gets people off of a roof or out of an area or something, or can kind of intimidate them from chasing you. The issue is it's just such a slow ability. All of her abilities, really, the only one that's good is her passive in the long run. Her smoke is just, there's no reason not to challenge a smoke. You just run in there, because like if she shoots smoke for her teammates to heal, just run in there and find him anyways and kill them. And her ultimate is just too slow that if like mobility legends will just get through it anyways, and there's still just some characters that can counter, like a Gibby throwing a shield down before they land, or a Watson ultimate, or you know just leaving the area. It's not really, it's kind of like a threatening thing, but not that big of a deal. But overall, she's not bad. But as you get higher up, she will start to fall off. Let's see who's next. I'm gonna talk about Octane. Octane used to be meta. He used to be meta for a while, which is kind of surprising. Octane is really not meta. He's usually not meta. But he has seen some nerfs, and I think he's come back down to the outshined. The jump pad is just a very linear form of movement. You're just kind of in the air for a long time. As someone who mains the bokeh, I love when people take Octane's jump pad, because I'm just like, alright, I've got a perfect shot. I can land on you and kill. I've gotten so many kills on people going on jump pads. It's just such a linear form of movement. And it's so lackluster when you look at other forms of like full team movement that just have more versatility, are safer, or something. Yeah. Plus, losing health all the time when you stim is not very good. His health regen is nice. It means you don't carry syringes anymore, basically, but that's about it. He's pretty solid. He's very, very good solo. He doesn't really have a huge team thing, just because the jump pad really isn't that amazing. But if he had more team play, you know, maybe he'd go back up. Like, his jump pad used to be better. I think they just changed angles or speed, or I can't remember what exactly they changed. I just remember I didn't play as much when he was like super meta, but he's kind of back down to where he was before, and that's just kind of meh. Let's see who's up next. Let's talk about Lifeline. Lifeline is not the most amazing character, but she is very convenient. I'd say like Loba, she's very, very convenient. Her passive, when she reses people, she sets the drone down, and that reses people, so you can keep fighting. That's actually really, really nice. It's really annoying to deal with as somebody who fights Lifeline. But as you know, as a Lifeline player and as having a Lifeline as your teammate, that's really, really convenient. You can res both your teammates at the same time, basically, by dropping the drone on one, and then you have your health drone to get your health back. Very, very convenient. And then the ultimate care package, it does let everyone know where you are, but you can get some shields from it, get some more loot from it, so it's pretty convenient as well. She's basically Loba's ultimate. She's like as convenient as Loba is, but you know, has like the fact that she can heal her teammates as well. That makes her above and beyond, but still just outshined in the long run. There's just, her tools just aren't really holding through long enough, if that makes sense. Let's talk about Rampart. Rampart's probably the worst defensive legend. Her walls are set up just way too slow, but if you get them set up, it's nice cover. You can shoot through it. And her Gatling gun, I can't remember what it's called. The Sheila, now she can carry it around. That can be really scary. So she can be somewhat self-sufficient. But if you don't have good team communication with the walls, then you're like, if your team's not coming to holding down a building or something, and if you don't have them set up prior to a fight, then she's pretty lackluster, because if she's setting up a wall mid-fight, just shoot one bullet at it and it breaks. She's also just super susceptible to just being pushed. Just kind of ignore the walls, take a different angle, and get it in her face, and like the walls are not useless. So yeah, Seer is he's an interesting one. He's just been nerfed too much to the point of where his abilities don't feel very impactful anymore. He used to be very, 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 very good. But he is still a recon legend and like a scanning legend, which is good. But there's just way better scanners out there. Literally, just way better like characters that can just do scans that better than Seer can. And then as for self-sufficiency, there's just nothing. He's got nothing. If he's caught out of line, he is just dead. He's just dead, and that's the big downside to him compared to the other legends who have the other scan legend, the other recon legends who have something to keep themselves afloat. I think I was going to cover it for the outshine tier. Requires a lot of teamwork. These characters are excellent, but if in solo queue, they are hard. You need your teammates to really follow you, to really make a plan with you and your abilities. And if they don't, you're just caught out of luck. Crypto is one of those characters. His drone is amazing. In terms of just tools he has, he's got so many things he can do with his drone. But when you're in the drone, you are sitting behind your teammates, and a lot of solo queue teammates will just keep going. They won't wait for you. They're not very good with map awareness. They're not communicating with you. They're not really caring what you're doing. They're just focused on themselves and what they're doing. And you'll get left behind a lot as Crypto. And trying to keep up with him, you're not actually using your drone, so it's like, well, why not use somebody else? But when you are with a team, when you're with a full squad, like a team that really coordinates your plans and works around Crypto, he can be so good, super rewarding, very very good in tournament. But in solo queue, it's just hard to pull off with randoms. Another character that's hard to pull off with randoms is Watson. She takes a lot. She's a very heavy setup character. You set up in a building, you fence off areas. People can't really push you with those fences, and they can't nade you because of your ultimate. You also have superior poking potential because your ultimate heals your shield, so you're not actually using your resources while you poke. She is a slow and laid kind of step back character. She can be very very rewarding, but just like Crypto, if your team's not willing to camp a building with you and they're going to go do their own thing and you're trying to run around and catch up with them, you're not really doing much for you. You're really not doing much. Plus, these two characters just aren't really self-sufficient. If they're caught on their own, they're kind of screwed. Watson has a little bit of stuff because she can hold down like a little room to herself really well. Crypto has basically nothing to himself. He's a good rat because he can fly his drone into the ring and go safely retrieve your teammates' death boxes or in whatever, but safely hit survey beacons, so safe and rewarding, but not very self-sufficient. These two are just a little too slow, basically, to keep up with randoms, and just keep up. Like the randoms in Apex, even in Diamond Masters, they are wild. They just go without purpose. They just run in directions, and you have to keep up, and these two just can't do it. Revenant is someone who can keep up. He is actually self-sufficient. He's got great mobility. There's a lot of stuff going for him, but his ultimate is the real selling point to Revenant, and you do need a lot of team communication to really make a Revenant ult work. He's the one that could maybe possibly jump up. I'm going to put him at the top of this list here, just to, make things, I don't know, look a little bit better for me. So he's got more self-sufficiency, but that ultimate, to get into that zombie form, whatever it is, you need your teammates to be on the same page of where you're putting it when you guys are all pushing together. Because if you're just solo pushing in Remnant's ult, you're not doing anything. They're just gonna get focused and basically shut down. It's pointless. Plus, you need to put it in good spots. You need to be smart about your ultimate. You need to make sure your teammates are watching it when they get sent back. There's just a lot to it. But when you do have a good teamwork with that ultimate, when you do have a good teamwork, whatever. When you have good teamwork, when you have good communication with that ultimate, it's very, very rewarding, and it's just super aggressive, and yeah, it can be really good. And then last in this tier, I think that's the last in the tier. Next up is going to be Viable in the meta. These characters are not the best, but they are very solid. They're self-sufficient. They're good for the team. They've got something that puts them above above the rest of the characters. They are really, really good into the higher tiers of ranked, but they just aren't the absolute like number one top 3 picks that best picks are. Let's talk about them. First is Horizon. I think she's probably the lowest ranked here. She's got great mobility for herself and for her team with her Q, her gravity lift. Her ultimate is pretty good for engage. It's pretty good for just keeping somebody off you too. And you don't really need your team to jump in on it too. Just throw your ultimate, throw like 2 grenades, and you can probably get something done. And your teammates can just benefit off of it by you can throw it to get somebody off your teammates. You can throw it to engage with your team. It's a good like. It's not the most impactful ability ever. I wish it was better, but it has a lot of potential of things you can do like with your team, for your team, also for yourself. I do main Horizon, by the way. I'd say Horizon, Pathfinder are my 2 absolute mains. I play them the most, and Watson is my slow go-to character. So, alright, those are the ones I know firsthand the most experience with, but I have played with every character pretty extensively, too. Another movement mobility legend that's really, really good that I also main, Pathfinder. Pathfinder is very, very self-sufficient. He has the best just move around the map time. Like, it's better than Octane. He's not the easiest character. Like, getting good grapples can be a little tricky because you're trying to slingshot yourself. You're not trying to like grapple and go in a straight line. You really want to slingshot yourself and kind of like chuck yourself, take really good momentum. But he's got amazing movement for himself, scanning survey beacons for your team, getting a jump on the ring, as well as his zip line is really good mobility for your entire team. With things like Wraith's portal being nerfed and Octane's jump pad being nerfed, his zip line is just the versatility, the different angles it can take. Even though it is somewhat of a linear form of transportation, it honestly moves fast enough, and it just with its versatility becomes one of the best forms of just full team mobility. Next up is Wraith. Wraith's seen a big fall from meta. She used to always be like the number 1 pick, but her portal is just really, really short now, and there's just some other mobility legends that do more than she does. Her passive is, she's another character, super, super self-sufficient. Her passive lets her know when someone's aiming at her, and her tactical gets her out of there. It takes a couple seconds of wind up, but then you get a move speed buff, and you are invulnerable for a while. Getting yourself out of there, plus portal can be used very offensively by either getting your team into a position or making an escape route or going to save your teammates, or you can even use a portal defensively by putting it on 2 doors, or putting it on 2 areas so people have to avoid that, or else they can't really get in towards you. I used to main Wraith. I solo queued with Wraith mostly when I went to Masters. And defensive portals are a pretty underrated thing, and I've started to see some more competitors use defensive portals kind of when I was really hitting my peak and when I was playing Apex the most. But she's just fallen out. She's just kind of fallen down a little bit with the portals range being shortened so much. There's just better picks out there. It's kind of like the Pathfinder situation. Like, it's a really good tool, but now there's just like 2 other characters that just do it better. Last in this tier is going to be Caustic. Caustic is a setup defensive character that doesn't have to play in buildings, and he doesn't have to like take a while to set up. He can just throw 1 gas canister in a good spot, and he can keep up with your team. He can play aggressively with his ultimate. He gets through gas, like nobody else can get through gas except for Caustic, and he can get through other Caustic's gas. So he can play very offensively too by just throwing gas down, going in, and just catching people off guard. He's really, really strong right now, and just being a defensive character that can keep up with people, it works out really well. As someone who mains Watson on when I've ever played defensively, I find myself playing I find myself playing Caustic most of the time just so I can keep up with the arena. If I can keep moving, I don't have to I'm not sitting there choosing a building to hard set up. I can work with kind of whatever we got. And his flexibility is what keeps him above these guys. A+ is going to be Ashe. Ashe has got a lot of tools. She's got a lot of bells and whistles. Her ultimate is the best form of movement I've ever seen. It's so crazy. It's so safe. She can just hit any range so far, any angle she wants. She can do it through windows. It is so good. Her tactical is great. It's a nice engage tool. Catches people running away. Even just throw it. It's just a throwable. It's a throwable, and it's just useful. It's a throwable that if you catch somebody, you snare them, you slow them down, so you can jump on them and then just give the advantage in a fight. That's great. It's so much better than like Fuse, who just like annoys people and you can't hear anything. And then her passive, being able to mark the team who killed someone at the death box or whatever it is called. I don't know. English is hard for me. Whatever. But having that recon ability by marking death boxes and just seeing where kills are on the map is just like so huge. And she's very self-sufficient, and just her ultimate is so good for the team, and her tactical is just so good for the whole team engage. Super, super good. Very, very good pick. The best 3 picks in Apex Legends. Bloodhound, the best recon character. He's so fast, he's so aggressive, he's so easy, his scans are so useful. Solar Beacon's great, you know, whatever. Just those scans are so good. Plus his ultimate, he's got a speed increase, he can use the scans more, he's got infrared sights. He's fantastic. He's super easy. If you're climbing ranked and you don't really know who to pick, and you want to pick up like another character, you want to have another character you can flex pick to, Bloodhound is like the #1 recommended character to play. It's just super easy, super rewarding. It's Bloodhound. He's a monster. Valkyrie is an amazing mobility character. She gets all of the high ground, like she's able to reach all the high ground places that characters like Pathfinder, Horizon, Revenant can, does all of that with her passive. And then her tactical, she clears an area. It does a lot of damage and slows people and is really good engage, and also just hits a huge area and does a lot of damage if you hit it all, and it's crazy. She flies. Like, she just flies. She has unmatchable mobility. She can scan survey beacons just because. Also, when she's flying, she has like 7 passives. Her passives, there's like 7 passives. She flies, she can scan survey beacons, and then when she's redeploying, she like scans everybody around you and makes it so easy to like see who's around you and mark people. It's crazy. She's the ultimate movement recon character. It's just like it's ridiculous. Oh, and then her ultimate is a redeploy for your whole team, which is just the best movement ever. That's the best movement thing ever. Let's just fully redeploy. Just see you later. Absolutely ridiculous character. The only downside to her is she really cannot play inside of a building. So she's not a good teammate for like a Watson or a Crypto. But that's it. That's the only downside. You don't really need to. And the #1 pick, still Gibraltar. Gun shield, ridiculously good. So self-sufficient. Dome shield, ridiculously good. So good for your team. So good for just stopping engage. And just nobody can mess with you when you put Dome shield down. Nobody can mess with you. And then the ultimate does a lot of damage. Comes down very, very fast. Like I was talking about, Bangalore's ultimate scares people off of a roof. Kinda. Gibby's scares people off of a roof and also will like kill them. Like it does exactly what Bangalore's does, but also, will like actually kill them. He's just ridiculous. He's got the highest HP in the game. That alone is like a reason for him to be like fantastic. And he's just got such good abilities. Best character in the game. Whatever. Alright, that's gonna do it for this, guys. Sorry, my voice is getting tired. Let me know who you're playing this season. Let me know how you're enjoying the season, how you're enjoying Ashe as a character. Let me know if you made Fuse, and I'll wish you the best in your life and tell you to pick somebody else, because Fuse mains are the absolute worst players in Apex. I said it, I will always say that. They are pathetic. If you take offense to that, suck it up and play somebody else. Anyways, this is Sane. I keep moving my webcam, so I keep turning to the other monitor to look at the webcam, but whatever. This is Sane. See you guys next time.